Hi, this is Erin from Blossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is to continue exploring the amazing moulds from the April 2026 Whispers of the Wild Resin Mould Box collection. This is the second video in this series, and if you haven't yet watched part 1, I will leave a link for you in the description box, as I had so much fun unboxing the collection and making several pieces using eco casting compound and decorating them with UV, DTF decals and watercolour paint. This time I'm turning my attention to the remaining 4 moulds, and I'm going to be using resin. So the first mould I'm going to start working with is the little crab trinket box mould, and I'm going to be using River Art Resin Deep Pour 2:1 epoxy, and I've worked out how much I need for the base and how much for the top. I've chosen this particular resin because it's got an extraordinarily long working time and it is very low bubble, very lovely to work with. So I'm going to mix up the 2 different amounts. I've just written them on my cups there so I don't get confused. And then I've decided to use a necklace to fill the mould with. And this is a necklace I was gifted by a lovely lady who knows that I like pulling apart jewellery and reusing pieces and things like that. And it's just the colours. I thought, oh, that looks a bit coastal, beachy, natural, and yeah, I'm hoping it would work well. In my experience in putting various either antique or, mismatched older beads into resin, the biggest thing is to try and avoid air getting trapped in the little holes in them and between them. So what I'm doing is I'm choosing the beads I want, and then I'm popping them into the resin, and I'm going to give them, quite a few minutes of soaking in that resin to allow any bubbles to come to the surface. And I really do get a lot of enjoyment out of this, because this necklace, I would never have worn it, and obviously the previous owner was no longer wearing it, but now it gets a whole new lease of life. And there's something extremely relaxing and rewarding about pulling jewellery apart and using it again. So I really did enjoy this, and I'm just making sure that I've got 2 fairly different colour combinations, different but complementary. So one is going to be the more orange and the other is going to be more brown. So you'll see when I get started on those, but both of them get a really good soaking in the resin. While my beads are marinating nicely in the resin, feel a little bit like I'm on a cooking show now, I'm going to start on the next mould, and that is the oval ripple tray mould. And for this one I've decided to use 4 different mixtures to pour into the mould to try and get some beautiful ripple effects. And I'm going to be using the beautiful little holographic shards that came in this kit. So when you get a resin mould box kit, often Ella adds in little extras, things that can embellish your work. So I'm going to add some of those, and then I'm going to add in some mica powders. I'm going to use an aquamarine, and then I'm going to use a cornflower blue, and I'm hoping that these colours will all blend and look quite pretty. Not blend, keep a little bit separate, but yeah, I'm hoping that it gives a really lovely effect. After checking in on my bead mixes, it's time to start on the next mould, which is this paw print. And this one I'm going to use the third holographic shards that were included in the kit. And these are a very, very pretty sort of a lilac colour. And they're just, yeah, gorgeous. Now the last remaining mould out of this kit to do is this gorgeous duck, and it was very fortunate that at around the same time I was about to do these, my lovely neighbour asked if I could make a bright yellow duck for one of her friends. And it's always an absolute pleasure to get inspiration from someone and to be able to make something, you know, that they want sort of exactly. So I'm using a very bright yellow glitter that she chose, and I'm just mixing that in with the resin. So now I've got all of my resin ready for each of the moulds, and I'm going to add in a tiny little sprinkle of the Pixie Magic from just resin into a couple of the mixtures to add a little bit of sparkle. After giving them all another stir, mixing all of that in thoroughly, I'm now going to add in a little bit of Elmer's glue to each of them, and this is going to help keep all of the individual mixtures together, because I'm really aiming for a gorgeous multi-colour experience, particularly in the Trinket dish, and I'm happy if the colours blend a little bit, but it would also be nice to see each of the unique pieces. And with the beads, of course, I'm trying very hard to keep them from falling down through the resin. So I've used two techniques to help with that. The first is that I've let the resin sit for the longest time. So the resin is thickening and warming up as time goes by, and the thicker the resin, the less chance that the beads will just fall straight through it. And I'm also using the glue, and that makes the resin thicker, almost slime-like, and that keeps everything just, from moving around too much. I'm moving over to my Resiners G3 curing machine to pour all of the different mixtures, and this means that I won't have to move them around, because that leaves you very much open to accidents, spilling and things like that. I know I'm not going to get everything into the machine, so I've also got a little leveling board next to me for that to go in. So here we go with this gorgeous oval ripple tray, and I've got those 4 different mixtures that we mixed up, and I'm just going to pour them in sort of little waves across the width of the mould, and then I'm going to just add in each of the colours as we go, and I think this is going to be really pretty. Absolutely loving these holographic shards. They really are stunning. So pouring in the cornflower blue and then the aquamarine, and this is always really fun to do with resin, I think. Just coming up with some patterns, but also knowing that resin will move and shrink and change as it's curing, so you don't really know what you're going to get. And of course we're looking at the bottom of the Trinket tray at the moment, but after a few little swirls I'm really happy with that one. So time to move on to the next one. This is our duck mould, and I'm filling it with this yellow glittery resin. I did make quite a bit extra of this mixture, and you'll see what I do with that shortly. So into the base of the crab shell, I've poured the resin mixture with the more neutral coloured beads added to it. And I'm just going over this to make sure that there's none that are sort of poking right up and that I've got little pieces everywhere I want them. And then I use the more orange colours to fill in the lid. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how these turn out. I'm not filling either of these right to the top because I do want to be able to put another coat of resin over them to make sure it's a smooth surface, but I'll wait until it's either at a gel stage or mostly cured. So there is the gorgeous sparkle mixture going into the pour, and then I did have a little bit left over of the yellow glitter, so I thought I'd make a couple of little ducks too. This is going to be the second lot of resin for the crab trinket box. So this one I'm tinting an orange colour, and it's just going to be really a smooth layer. You will see a little bit of it through the shell, and then here I'm going for a really lustrous, pearly, creamy natural colour to try and pick up that colour in the beads as well. And this one is going to be for the base. As soon as I head over to the resinous T3 machine to pour this, I very quickly realised that I did not leave enough room in the body part of the crab, unfortunately, and it is going to be a bit of a mess. I'm loving the colour, I think that's great, but I can tell by how the resin is just sitting and not moving towards the edges that I really did put too much in it the first time. I'm hoping it will be okay. So I'm just dragging the coloured resin to the edges, and I'm just going to have to clean up afterwards. It's one of those things. 24 hours later, it is time to demould. And first of all, we will have a look at the lid of the little trinket dish. I did end up having to get some help demoulding this one. My hands were just not doing their job. So there it is. You'll see it more clearly in some photos at the end. And I'm loving how the beads look. They are so pretty encased in that resin. And this is the base. So it's gorgeous. So you can tell there's beautiful clear with the beads, and then this really pretty base, and they fit together perfectly. Now, I know that this mould does have stars and eyes and things like that in it. I don't love moulds that have those details. I like more plain moulds, so I'm just leaving it as it is. But now I need to start working on this excess resin, and I use a combination of some nail clippers and scissors and a file, and I'm able to actually get it quite smooth fairly quickly, which was good. But next time I would not pour so much into this one. Okay, let's have a look at, well, first of all the little extras I had. Remember at the beginning I said that the yellow duck is for a friend to gift to someone who loves ducks, and this person also loves red and black, so I made some little red and black ducks for fridge magnets too. And these two little ones, so these moulds were from Resin Mould Box as well. So let's have our first glimpse at our little fat duck who's really not that fat, he's just very cute. So demoulding was a little bit tricky, but there he is. and it's such a beautiful shape. And yeah, it's very bright, exactly as my friend wanted. So now we're going to have a look at this pour ornament, and this one was fairly easy to demould, and it's very pretty. I'm not exactly sure what the purpose is, or you know, what other people might do with it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What would you do with this one? It's yeah, it's very pretty. And now let's have a look at the tray, and I'm really hoping, and yes, I don't need to hope any longer. I was going to say I'm hoping that the colours all stayed a little bit separated and came out beautifully, and it just looks like the most magical sparkling pond. So I'm super happy with that one. And yeah, so these have turned out really well, and this got me thinking about the ducks on the pond and things like that. Anyway, look, I decided to make another duck just so I would have one for myself, and this one I've decided to use polyurethane resin. So my polyurethane resin is from Solid Solutions, and it is a very fast mixing time and curing time. You're looking at about 15 minutes maximum, and it's ready to demould. So I've got an amount of part B here. It's a 2-part system, and when I've got part B on its own, that gives me lots of time to blend in whatever colouring I'm using. And this one I wanted a sort of a gold look. And as long as the 2 parts aren't mixed together, you're fine. But once that other part goes in and then the 2 parts are mixed together, the clock is ticking, and I mean really ticking. Like, you really do not have time. So the second part's now in. Most of the colour blending is done because we did that first. You just really have to thoroughly mix the 2 parts together, and then within about 30 seconds I can start feeling it heat up in my hands, and by the time we get to about 60 to 90 seconds, whatever you are going to do with it, that time's been and gone. It just gets thicker and starts curing, and it is a product that cures in a sort of a white cast, and you need to take that into consideration with how you are colouring it as well, because whatever colour you put in, it will sort of be diluted by that white cast. So here we are just 15 minutes later, and this is what we've got. So I made a couple of little extras, and this is just a little fish mould I've got, and some turtles, and then we'll have a look at the little ducks. And as always with this little mould, they come out looking super cute. And as I said, I've got these from Resin Mould Box, the mould. And now it's time to have a look at our second fat duck version, and we'll see what we think of this one. So here we go, and this is the polyurethane resin. So it does give you a really lovely sheen and smooth finish. I think this makes a super cute little duck family, and I'm really happy with these. Well, let's have a look at some photographs. So here is our polyurethane resin duck, and it's a little family. And then here is our resin glitter duck, and of course the little ones that we made with that as well. I also made a couple of little clear ones using the sequins that were given in the kit, and that came out really pretty too. Here is the paw ornament using those gorgeous holographic flakes from the kit. And here is the darling little crab trinket box. So we've got it there showing it with the lid on and with the lid off. And lastly, we've got this gorgeous tray mould. Look, I really want to make this over and over again. I loved it. I did sneak in a couple of little ducks in a matching colour just to see what they look like, because that was one of the suggestions in the package. And yeah, I just wanted to do a couple of the little baby ducks. So now I have completed all 8 of the moulds in the April box, and wow, we got a real variety of great little moulds here. And if I had to pick my favourites, you can probably guess already, but I do love that tray and the duck, and I think that they are going to be very much regulars in my making, because I want to see them in lots of different materials and designs and colours. So at the time of uploading this video, there were a couple of these kits left, and you can hop on to the resin mould box site, which I'll link in the description box, and grab your own. Or, of course, you can always purchase individual moulds from the site too. And I am an affiliate with both Resin Mould Box and Solid Solutions. You will have a discount code in the description to use. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. It really means a lot. And I look forward to talking to you in the comments and seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.